Welcome to the Explainer. So if you've ever looked into making some extra cash on the side, you've probably stumbled across a million different gig apps. But today, we're looking at something totally different. We are diving into Veryable. This is an app that completely skips the usual driving and delivery stuff and instead zeroes straight in on manufacturing and warehouse labor.
Which brings us to the big question. Can you really make $25 an hour just picking up random warehouse shifts? I mean, we're all so used to the gig economy being ruled by Uber Eats or DoorDash, right? But manufacturing? That is a literal new frontier for on-demand labor. The idea that you could just decide to run a forklift or assemble products on a Tuesday and then take Wednesday off, it sounds almost too good to be true for this kind of industry. So we're going to break down exactly how this works, what it actually pays, and what real workers are saying about it.
Basically, you can think of Veryable as the ultimate middleman. It's essentially the Uber for warehouses, retail, and industrial companies. And the pitch to these companies is honestly super appealing. They get to save a ton of money by using Veryable's pool of vetted temporary workers to handle unexpected surges in demand. Imagine a massive retail warehouse trying to survive a crazy holiday season rush. Instead of going through all the expense of hiring full-time employees just to lay them off in January, they literally just open the Veryable app and tap into temporary help.
So where is this all happening, and what kind of jobs are we talking about? Well, Veryable currently operates in about half the country. If you're in the South, the Midwest, or the East Coast, you're pretty much in luck. But a quick heads up, if you're on the West Coast, they actually have 0 operations there right now. For everyone else, though, the platform opens up access to dozens of employers. We're talking about roles for forklift drivers, welders, pipe fitters, product assemblers, all without having to commit to a typical 9-to-5 schedule.
All right, moving into Section 1, the setup. Getting onto the platform.
The setup process is fairly straightforward, but honestly, it's pretty strict. First up, obviously, you download the app. Second, you do have to hand over your personal info, including your social security number, because you have to pass a background check. Third, and this is a very unique quirk to Veryable, you absolutely must sign up for a specific banking app called Vault. Veryable won't pay you any other way, so this is non-negotiable. And finally, you build out your skill profile, listing your qualifications, your experience, and whatever specific machinery you actually know how to operate.
Next up, Section 2, the hustle, finding work, and the notorious 100-mile rule. This rule is actually a major, completely unchangeable catch, hardwired right into the app software. Veryable strictly defines your job market as a 100-mile circle around your home address. Now, unlike other gig apps where you can adjust your travel radius down to, say, maybe 10 or 20 miles to keep things local, Veryable locks you into this massive circle, and there is literally 0 option to adjust it.
So let's talk about how this actually plays out in the real world, because for rural users, it can be incredibly frustrating. Imagine you live 90 miles outside of a major metropolitan area. Your phone is going to constantly blow up with job notifications. The catch? Those jobs are practically impossible for you to actually commute to. Users talk about the immense frustration of seeing a dozen alerts every single day for gigs that would demand a 4-hour round-trip drive. And again, there's absolutely no way to disable those alerts or shrink that search radius in your settings.
But, okay, let's assume you live right in the middle of a bustling industrial hub. You're good to go, right? Well, you are immediately going to face this pretty intense number, 8.1. According to Veryable's own internal data, 8.1 is the average number of workers bidding on every single job posted to the platform.
This perfectly illustrates the fierce competition on the app. I mean, think about it. When roughly 8 people bid on a single gig, that means for every 1 person who successfully scores a shift, 7 other bidders are left completely empty-handed. The hiring company effectively gets to cherry-pick exactly who they want from a rather large pool.
And that leads us straight to the most controversial aspect of the whole app, the bidding war. You see, when a job is posted with a suggested pay rate, you don't just tap an accept button. You actually have to place a bid. You can offer to work for the suggested amount, you can ask for more money, which risks losing the gig entirely to someone cheaper, or, and this happens a lot, you can offer to work for less money just to ensure you win the bid. You are quite literally bidding against your fellow workers. Reviewers often point out that this naturally pressures people into cutting their rates, especially new users who are desperately trying to score those critical first few gigs just to build up their profile ratings.
Let's check out Section 3, the payoff, fast cash, and vault fees.
So, the expected pay generally ranges between $13 and $25 an hour, which is highly dependent on your specific skills, the role itself, and your location. But here is the absolute best part of Veryable, the feature that users absolutely rave about, payments are processed daily. You go in, you work a shift, and you can generally expect to see your money by the very next morning.
However, remember that mandatory vault banking app we talked about earlier? To actually access that daily pay, you have to navigate this somewhat annoying web of transfer fees. If you want to move your hard-earned cash from vaults to your normal bank account via an ACH transfer, it costs $1. Want to push it over to Venmo or Apple Cash? That's a $3 fee. Taking cash out of a non-network ATM? Yep, another $3. Basically, the only way to get your money completely fee-free is to track down one of their 55,000 all-point ATM kiosks and pull it out as physical cash. So every time you want to move your money digitally, you are paying a toll.
Finally, Section 4, the verdict. Let's see what real users actually say.
It's honestly a tale of two cities here. On one hand, you have users in vibrant, busy markets who absolutely love the platform. Take this user in the Atlanta area, for example. They pointed out that there are plenty of shifts to choose from. Many others echo this, saying it's a nice, easy app where you just work an op and see the money hit your account by 11 a.m. the very next day. For these workers, having that reliable stream of work paired with lightning-fast payouts makes Veryable an incredible tool.
But on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have highly frustrated new users who just simply cannot break into the system. One reviewer actually said they tried every single day for a month, bidding the absolute lowest hourly wage the app would legally allow, and they still failed to get picked for a single job. There's this really strong sentiment among these users that companies on the app rely on a small pool of favorites, workers they've used before, making it nearly impossible for a newcomer to get their foot in the door.
So ultimately, when you step back and look at the actual architecture of the Veryable platform, the dynamic becomes pretty clear. On one side, the hiring companies are getting exactly what they signed up for: endless access to fast, vetted labor. Because they have 8 people fighting over every shift, they can keep their labor costs incredibly low without any long-term hiring commitments. But on the flip side, the workers face extreme competition, inconsistent hours that hinge entirely on daily market demand, and a very real systemic pressure to lower their own wages just to win a shift.
Which leaves us with this final thought to wrap up today's explainer. Veryable undoubtedly provides a really innovative solution for warehouse staffing, and for some workers, it offers fantastic flexibility and the perk of daily pay. But if you find yourself stuck in a system where you're racing to the bottom, constantly underbidding your peers just to get a single shift, is that flexibility really paying off? It's a fascinating look at the evolving landscape of industrial work, and definitely something to think about before you hit download. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning how these systems are built.